In this step, we'll be assembling Pico circuitry. First thing, take your Raspberry Pi and plug in the SD card. Make sure you followed all the software setup steps to ensure that the software is on the SD card, because accessing this SD card later is slightly difficult, and the ideal way to get back in would be to SSH into the Pi to make changes or plug in into the USB ports. You'll also notice that I have this insulating tape covering the metallic casing of the USB ports and the Ethernet on my Pi. I would suggest you do the same. You can use any kind of tape. This is primarily just to prevent the pins on the lower side of this circuit from touching and shorting on these metallic casings. As the first step, take the camera and plug it into the camera connector of the Pi. Make sure you're making the connection in the right direction. The camera should be facing outwards, and press down on the connector to secure the connection. Next, take the circular circuit. You'll notice that it has two holes on either side. You're going to take these screws. They'll be 20mm screws, even though the packet may be labeled 18, and screw it in from one side. Make sure you're inserting it from the side that has this 2x20 connector. So you want to face it upwards in the same direction as the USB ports. Take a washer and place it over, and screw down with a hex nut. Repeat the same thing for the other hole. Once you've screwed down all the way, hold it and then just tighten with the screwdriver if needed. Next, take the Raspberry Pi and the circuit, and you're going to plug this circuit onto the Pi. The 2x20 connector must match exactly with the 40 pins on the Pi. And this slot is where the camera will go. So you slot in the camera, line up the pins, and press down. Make sure that this connection is proper. If these pins don't line up, it could either short circuit the Pi or destroy this circuit. And you'll see that the camera fits in this slot. The next thing you want to do is you want to take this USB circuit and you want to plug it into the two lower ports of the Pi. Once this is plugged in, take this flat cable. You'll see one end is blue and one end actually has the connections on it. On this particular circuit, the USB circuit, you'll see this small black, flip or switch. Just flip that up, slide in the cable and flip it back down. This secures the cable and the connection. You want to do the same thing on the exact same connector that is there on this circular board. Flip the black door up, the black hinge up with your nail. Slide in the connector, the flat cable, so that the blue side is facing up and the connections are facing downward. Once you slide that in, just flip the hinge back down, the black hinge back down, and now the connection is secure. What this is going to do, it's going to create a connection between the USB ports on the Pi and these vertical facing ports on this circuit, which allows you to plug in your keyboard and the mouse easily from the top. As a final step, you're going to plug in this screen directly into the HDMI port of the Pi. But before doing that, take the power connector, the red and black cable of the screen, and you're going to slide it into this connector on the circular circuit. The connector should say 5-volt power to screen, and it should have both a black and a red marking. This connector is polarized, so you can only slide in one direction. Once you've connected the power, simply take the HDMI port and slide it in.